Hello, I'm Kate Tedeschi with Paint Mania. We're located in downtown Nampa, and tonight we're going to do this painting. And if you are interested in doing a painting but can't get out right now, we do have curbside service, and we put together these kits with directions. And just let us know you're coming and what painting you want to do, and we will be happy to rent it out to you. These paintings are these kits are $30 in case anyone's interested. And we're gonna get started. Okay, so for purpose of demonstration today, I'm gonna be using a smaller canvas, as you can see. And I've already loaded my palette. Your kit will come with two trays, so you can just stack them. We're gonna begin by priming our brush. So just dip your brush in the water and tap it off really good. And then damp it on your paper towel. We're going to come into the blue. Throughout your painting today, be really mindful not to stir the paint. You want to keep a nice crisp edge on your brand new brush, because this will come in handy later when we're trying to make straight lines. So go ahead and load both sides. And we're going to begin by making X's all the way across. Just loose X's. Then with this, we're going to blend. Make sure you're not putting so much on that you've got big puddles on your canvas. That'll take a long time to dry. Just nice smooth strokes. And then you'll do another round of X's. Smoothing it out, coming down. We're going to complete the full canvas with this color blue. Also, be sure to do the sides, the top, and then when you're done, turning it over and doing the bottom as well. So we're going to pause for a moment, and I'm going to get this done, and I'll be back. Okay, so we're back, and I've completed this. We've got no puddles, no major streaks, a few little streaks, but that won't matter. So we're going to begin by wiping off our brush on our napkin. Don't want to wash the brush. You want to leave a little bit of the blue on the brush, not a lot. And then we're going to come into the white. I've got a little puddle of white here. I'm putting just the tiniest bit on the tip. I'm going to start at one side and just glob these on, and then I'm going to pat them till they almost disappear. So we want them to be translucent, and we're going to come back and make them a little more opaque in areas so they'll look more natural. And you can put in as many or as few clouds as you choose. You can have it a perfectly blue day if that's what you're looking for, or you can make it very, very cloudy. I like a good deal of clouds. So you can see they're pretty see-through. And that's good. Now I'm gonna come back in and make some areas more opaque, as I was saying, just making it a little thicker in certain areas. You want to be sure that you don't have any straight lines, because clouds really don't have many straight lines. They're pretty jagged. So if you hit the brush in a way that it makes it squared, just go ahead and pound that out so it's a nicer, more natural look. What we don't want is little cotton balls everywhere. We don't want them to look exactly, each cloud to look exactly the same. I'll make this one a little brighter. just keep working at it till you get it to where you like the shape of your cloud, and yeah, that's all there is to this. Might want to put a few little tiny ones in here and there. Sometimes there's clouds off in the distance that are kind of straight. Little streaks, maybe a jet stream, is that what it's called? Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. Check around the sides and the top. Make sure that you've brought your painting over the sides and off onto the side. Very good. All right, we're gonna pause. All right, go ahead. All right, we're gonna put some streaks now. We're gonna use just that very sharp edge of the brush, wiping off the brush again, and we're gonna come right into the white. And we're gonna put some nice thin lines just coming across. And these are staggered lines. You don't really want them to look too uniform. And if you take out too much of the blue, you can always go back and put some more in. Just creating some nice little white water lines using just the blade of the brush. I'm happy with that. We're going to go with that. All right, so in your kit, you've got this dark blue and this black. And once again, we're not going to really wash the brush off. We're wiping it off. We're going to bring a little blue to the side and a little black. The black goes an awfully long way, so you just need more blue than black. So we're going to begin by making our horizon line right about in the middle of the painting. And it doesn't have to be exactly precise, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, just straightish. And then make sure you come around the sides and continue that line. Once you've done that, we're going to create the mountains. The mountains are really going to cut into your clouds. So you can have different heights of mountains. You don't want all of the peaks to be all up at the same height. So I'm going to take my first mountain, I'm going to have it peak here. And these are kind of rocky mountains. And I'm going to have a shorter one. I'm going to go through and give them a little more character than this, obviously. But this is a good start. And I'm going to look, are they all the same height? Nope, we got a variation. These two are kind of close in size, so I'm going to go ahead and take this one and make it the biggest one that we have. Going to take it and give it some character too. You don't have to use these shapes. Your shapes that you come up with will be just fine. Only thing is, just remember, make them rocky-ish peaks. So when I'm coming back in to give them a little more character, I'm going to put little ledges on them, round the top off maybe a little bit. We don't really want them to be pyramids, so make some natural little curves in them, and plateaus maybe on some. So we're going to pause and let you perfect your mountains while I perfect mine. Okay, this is my rough line here. So now what we need to do is fill all of this in with that same combination of the blue-black, mostly blue, just a touch of black. And we want to make this nice and solid. And then we're going to add some shading in after we make everything solid. And we'll be back once we get that. Okay, so we're back and we've got a nice solid base for our mountains. Just about complete. Check your sides, make sure you get everything covered there. And we're not looking for a perfectly even coverage. In fact, it'll lend to the different shades will be good background and create more texture for us in the long run. So I'm switching to my smaller brush, and I'm gonna figure out where these ridges are along here, because that's determining that there's two different sides to this mountain. As you can see on the on one side, it's more shaded. So our sun source would be coming in from the right. So we're going to make the shaded portion first, and I'm going to do that by using a lighter version of the background color that we have already started to create. So I'm just taking a little white, tapping it around, and going to start to create which side the shade is on. So in this case, I'm just tapping and cutting into this mountain here. I'm tapping, I'm creating just some different textures and shapes within the mountains, laying the groundwork for what we're about to do here. So and put some character into the dark side, because even though it is the dark side, it would have snow on it. It would just be a darker snow than what we have on the other side. This one's going to come here. We're only working on the dark side of this point. There's a lot of snow up at the top, so we want to make sure we put more up here than we do farther down. There we go. And that's a good start. Now we're going to wipe off our brush again, come into the white, and do the same thing on the white side of it. We want to kind of line those. You don't want any definite patterns. This side is predominantly more white than the other. We're going to pause, and then you can work on yours. I'll try to perfect mine, and we'll be back. And okay, yeah, just get a little bit of it. Yeah, go back on. So you just have to trust the process with this. It won't look exactly right to you when you're doing it, but you're just dabbing, making one side of the mountain lighter than the other. You could do some pulling to show direction. And then go back in and add more, just to sort of lighten things up. And I'm just dabbing, and I'm being mindful of this one little ridge here that I created, and then I'm going to highlight that ridge to really show it off. Go back in and fill it in with. And just keep working it till it comes in, starts looking like a mountain. There'll be some dark spots as well on both sides, and there'll be some light spots. You can put a little bit of light on both sides. This mountain, there's going to be a tree over it, and this one as well. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of emphasis on this one. It's just sort of under there, and we know it is. Okay, so go ahead and work on your mountains. We'll continue ours and we'll be back in a moment. Okay. Okay, so I'm not quite loving this yet, and you may not be either, because when we're really close to our painting, we're really critical of ourselves. But if we take our paintings away and put some distance between us and our paintings, they start to make more sense. So, and we can come back later and make little touch-ups. That's always a possibility. But for now, we're going to move right on to the fog. And the fog, I'm going to be using the large brush once again. Be sure to wipe it off as well as possible. We're going to come straight into the white, and I'm going to put little dollops of white all the way along the bottom here. We're just going to create a nice soft little fog. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to just sort of blend this. We don't want to scrub because we don't want to, again, ruin that nice sharp edge, but just feathering up with that little white dollop that you've placed there. Maybe going in a little bit of a circular motion and then brushing upward. Don't cut too high up into your mountain though. We're just creating fog. Be sure to get your sides. And then you can perfect it from there. Softening the edges. And that's about where we want to be with this. It just creates a nice backdrop for the trees that we're about to put up there. This one's actually a little dark, so I'm thinking I'm going to go in and put a little more light in there. Just repeating the same process we just completed. But what I do like is how it just looks hazy. So let's make sure there's not too much paint. You want a pretty dry brush for this. Patting is a good technique also. And even if you have some harsh lines on your mountains, you can do that same technique on the mountains, patting. And now it's starting to come together. All right, feeling better about that now. Okay, in your kit you've got a light brown and a dark brown. We're going to go with the light brown now, and I've added a little bit of black to my palette. And if you may have noticed, I started a fresh palette because we're going to bring in some other colors. We're going to bring in some greens and browns, and so we're just going to set this aside for touch-up at the moment. So I'm going to put just a dot of black on one corner and then much more of the beige. So it kind of looks like this. And also you'll notice I have not washed that brush. I have wiped it off, but I haven't washed it. And that's okay because it'll give us some good undertones. So we're going to go below the haze and then just create a shoreline. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It can be. It's your shoreline though, and this is your painting. So make it what you want it to be. And we're coming side to side. And we want it kind of blotchy like that. You see the difference between the beige and the black, and it's not perfect, but that's kind of the way nature is. So go with it. Coming across. We want to make sure it's about, well, and it's thick enough to add the trees. I'm going to add a little, I'm loading up here, a little more beige, a little more black. Going to make it a little lower. All these strokes need to be side to side. You can maybe do some tapping, but it's always got to be side to side. And that's what we're looking for. Make sure you do your sides. And that's it. Then we're going to take this shoreline, and there's going to be a little peninsula that kind of pokes out. It's not real big, about something like that. I'm going to fill it in, take it off the back, and maybe connect it to the mainland. There that is. And then we're going to come down below and just do the same thing with the brown black down here. Around the sides, we're going to bring it up a little higher for where the tree is standing. And then I'll probably connect these. I'm going to turn it upside down and fill all of this in with the brown black as well. That's terrific. We're going to just let that sit for a minute so it dries and sets up. And we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we're back. Now I've loaded the palette with this nice deep green, and also we still have some of this khaki, and we're going to create little trees back in the background here. We're just going to stamp them in using our small brush. So just wipe your brush off, and we're going to come take a little bit of green and a little bit of khaki, or the khaki-ish brown, put that together, create a nice khaki green color. And then with this color we are going to stamp in some trees right along this fog here that connects with the fog. So we're doing this just by tapping using the very edge of our brush. They're all generally the same height, but you can see I've gone up and down, so they're in a distance, so they wouldn't have very much detail. I'm going to come closer to the foreground, still stamping. Then I'm going to come in to the green and mix just a little khaki into it. It's not a true dark green because, you know, the colors tend to be more faded far away. But I'm going to put some shadows in there with that color. Yeah, that's looking good, the distance. Then I'm going to come back in, put a little brown, and I'm going to tighten up that shoreline a little bit, like so. And then, using just the straight green, maybe I'll put a little black because it still is far away. Making a deeper green, I'm going to stamp the larger trees in, and these ones are the ones that are close to us. So I'm going to start here. They come closer to the shoreline, and while you're doing them, just keep in mind you're going to be flipping the canvas soon and doing a mirror image. So keep that in mind. You wouldn't want it too big, taller than the others because they are closer to us. But even there, you're going to vary. Some of them start up higher. You don't want them all to be the exact same cookie cutter height. Maybe you'll skip a few. Put one here, bring it closer. I'm happy with that. So now we're going to go ahead and use this same brush, and we're fanning out a little bit, just a little, on both sides of that. kind of making it look like a soft, vague tree in the background here. You shouldn't be able to see too many details with these trees. They're just shapes, really. It's way too big, so I'll put another one here. Okay, now we're going to flip it, and we're going to be doing mirror images. Just try to make it as much as you can be the opposite, turned upside down, of that same tree. And we'll pause while you complete that. All right.